All right. Hello, everyone. Hi, Dave. How are you doing today? Can you confirm if the audio video looks okay? Good morning, Airy3S. Hi, Vihan. How are you doing? Hi, Dave Chaplot. Hi, Suman. Thank you, Manlo. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Hi, Wanted. How are you doing? All right, good. So, I think I have about, 20 odd comments on the previous YouTube video. First, we'll do that. And then, sure, Aditya, I'll be happy to answer some of the questions. The trip was fantastic. I think main highlight for me for the trip was I got an opportunity to not fly, but be like a newbie pilot. I took a discovery lesson where I had an opportunity to fly a Cessna 172 aircraft. I was very stoked and excited about it. So that part I loved. Call me Aries lol. Okay. All right, Aries. Which pathway do you consider best among the three? Okay, I'll answer that question, but I'll start with YouTube comments first. We've roughly about 20 comments. I'll try and answer them, and then I will take questions on the live. What I've done differently this time is we've taken a screenshot of all these comments. So just give me a minute, I'll pop them up so that you also know, what questions I'm answering. My screen should be visible to you now. Can you confirm if that's so? Okay. All right. I'm assuming the screen is visible. So let's start doing some of the questions. Question number one, looks like you read a lot of books. Honestly, not as much as I would like, but I try. I think I've gone through phases where there is some few months in a year where I'm putting a lot of time reading, and then there are a few months where I'm not as disciplined. But what time do you read? How do you get into mood of reading? Okay. So here's what I do. Earlier, what I used to do that really worked for me. I think I started reading I started enjoying reading quite a bit after I became CA, which is 2008, 2009. And I don't know the reason why, that interest got cultivated. But one of the things I used to do there, I always used to carry one book with me all the time. Okay, the first one I distinctly remember was not actually a book, it was an annual report of Hero Honda back in the day. Like Hero today, Hero Motors used to be Hero Honda then. So I took a printout of, 200, 250 pages, got it spiraled, and then I used to carry that with me everywhere. That worked out quite well because, just the fact that a book is along with you everywhere you go, automatically will help you read more. Now I use some e-reading devices. One device that I think have one of the best tech purchases I've done is a simple Kindle, right? And the benefit I find with Kindle is I carry a small bag. I keep that Kindle with me all the time. So wherever you're going, you get 10 minutes free. You feel like I can browse one or two pages, helps you read better. Also, every now and then I come across certain books where I feel like, some chapters or some books where I really feel, that feeling of aha moment. So for those books, stupidly enough, I actually also take notes. like how we used to do it in school for, like preparing for some exams. I do it the same way. Write down some sentences, write what I think about them, highlight, use different colors, make them look nice. Just enjoy the whole process. And I think once you start enjoying the process, you automatically end up reading more. So let's hope all of us read more in 2025. Okay, Aries. How to have a bird's view on market, including equities, gold, bond, crypto, can be updated, everything with all the loads of information. How not to be overwhelmed by this? That's great question, because there is a concept called, the data hygiene or information hygiene. I think if you think of investing as a discipline, right? Back in 1990s, when there was no internet, or at least not widespread usage of internet, if you had access to the information, it was a competitive edge, right? So we used to call it as the information edge. Ki aapko, you've read annual report, you know about the company, you have an edge over other investors. Now I think that information edge has disappeared because all of us have information. Now our problem is बहुत ज़्यादा information है, and the problem with too much of information is at times it will force you to act on some information. Okay, now in this context, I'm going to quote a book, but there's a fantastic book, is what I learned about investing from Darwin by Pulak Prasad. Okay, fantastic book. He has 3 rules of investing. Okay, if you get a chance, his rule number 3 basically says, don't be lazy, be very lazy. Okay, so he basically recommends a proponent of a very long-term investing. And obviously, if you have too much of information load coming in, you would have that FOMO or the urge to act. So but on the downside, if you're not absorbing the information, then you wouldn't know what's happening in the market, right? So I don't have a structured way of finding this information. I think some of the sources that I use quite extensively, one source is obviously your Google News. That for me, this simple feature, not Google News, what is it called? Google Alerts. Okay, that has worked magic for me. So what Google Alert basically is, you write down the name of your stock, and then every time there is some information on that stock or that word on the internet, Google will send you automated emails, and you can also customize it. Okay, so for me, Google Alerts works quite well. I mean, it's not as calibrated, but it generally works. Second source of information for me is this app called Scout Quest. Okay, now I'm not connected to this company in any way, but I like the product that they have. I'll tell you what the product is. They have a subscription of not very expensive, few hundred rupees a month. I don't remember exactly. You put in the names of your stock into their portal, put in your mobile number, and what it does is it keeps on reading all the internet articles, research article, and especially the the regulatory uploads on exchange websites by companies on the BSE NSE website. So for example, let's say a stock, let's call it Tejas Network. Now the management of Tejas Network uploads certain on BSE website. What this app will do is it will read that summary, it will read the doc, summarize it, and send you a quick message on WhatsApp. Okay, so that's fantastic because all of us read WhatsApp, right? So that has worked out quite well. And then the third source of, I think, information on keeping updated on the markets is not structured, it's mostly reports, right? So you keep on receiving different reports. There is a Jeffries report, you'd find them on the internet if you search for them. I really like this report called Netra, which also by DSP, I think, which summarizes what's happening in the market. So WhatsApp and then friends and people I know in the markets, I think that's generally my source of keeping updated. All right, Vandit. Hi, thanks for these amazing sessions. Okay, thank you, Vandit, for the feedback question. My treasurer left for the company. Now I have a new treasurer with whom I gel well. A knowledgeable person, CFA, MBA. He appreciates work. I'm in negotiation phase for salary hike. We've had discussion on how he sees me in next 5 years becoming a senior manager. Meanwhile, had discussion in M&A head, and he might be interested in add me in the M&A team. Still a lot to learn in treasury, hedging strategies, liquidity models. Should I go in treasury or take a chance and move to M&A? Vandit, I don't know. I think there is no way to know. Uh, Here's what I know, by the way. I know that you have to spend at least 10 years in one domain to be a truly champion of that domain, right? So I don't know how long you worked in treasury, but clearly if you feel that you have more to learn, you can exploit that. But the arguments for choosing an M&A profile would be, imagine if your long-term game was to become a, let's say, a CFO, right? You're an ambitious chap, you want to be a CFO. Now a CFO should know, doesn't have to be a champion in everything, but needs to know a little bit of everything, right? So from that perspective, M&A makes more sense. If I were you, I would have been inclined to take this role. First, I will check what is the size of the annual budget that your company has for acquisitions. How many live mandates? How many transactions have you executed in the last 2-3 years? Because there are a lot of corporate development teams जहाँ पे 2-3 साल कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है because you are finding companies and not finding right opportunities. So if there are active mandates and there are good transactions happening, there's no offense in considering a M&A role. Personally, I'm a little more inclined towards it, but clearly it's your choice. What is the reason for choosing sub 5,000 crore market cap companies, higher risk and downside? Do you keep any stop losses? Okay. So one, I generally like small cap for the simple reason that generally they are not well discovered. Okay. What I mean by that is, let's take some small 2,000 crore company. You would not have an institutional buyer on the cap table. मतलब आपको कोई म्यूचुअल फंड नहीं दिखेगा. So you would see smaller investors. And that's an opportunity because if the discovery is not sufficient, maybe there is some valuable piece of information that's not priced in. So you might end up buying something at an attractive valuation. But the downside with this right now is valuations are extremely steep, right? If you look at current markets, most of the small cap and mid caps are really, really expensive. Next 3-4 years of growth is already priced in. So I'm still buying some of the stories in my monthly allocation, but not buying them too aggressively. But generally the main reason to look for smaller companies is, they're not well discovered, so you have better opportunities. Second, it's easy to grow fast generally on a low base. Okay, and it's a simple base level mathematics. I'll show you what it is. Imagine you start a new tea stall. Okay, now on day one, you manage to sell 10 cups. All right. Now on day two, those 10 people came, but they also brought their friends along. So you managed to sell 20 cups. Now, because your sales have grown only by 10 cups, but in percentage term, that's 100% growth, right? So suddenly all your metrics will start looking really, really attractive. But imagine you're looking at someone like Starbucks, which on day one is selling, I don't know, maybe 100,000 cups, right? It will be difficult for Starbucks in period 2, doesn't have to be day 2, but period 2 to sell 200,000 cups. So the idea is every company goes through certain life cycle, right? So if you can find a company which is early in its life cycle, generally they're small caps, doesn't have to be. Like, probably Zomato is still fairly early in the life cycle, but it's not a small cap anymore. So if you can find a company early in the cycle which has a smaller revenue base, the incremental growth could be faster. But of course, the risk is also higher. Do I keep any stop losses? No, because I generally don't trade. If I'm investing in some story and want to keep it for, I ideally would like to keep it forever. So therefore, I'm not so concerned with the downside risk. This clearly looks like some sort of a bot. All right, what do you look for an intern if you're hiring him as an analyst in your hedge? I don't have a hedge fund, I don't have IBD. And if you're hiring an intern, I think in general areas, you're not looking at existing skills, because the whole idea of hiring an intern is, you want to teach them the skills. If you're looking at the attitude, right, more than anything else. So I think for us, I mean, if you're looking at some internships, we generally look for basic behavioral traits rather than technical traits. Anyone who's willing to learn and has done good homework generally, is a good impression. VNM. I'm a level 2 candidate with 15 months of delta hedging experience. Age 22 and already 15 months of experience. It's impressive. And you're level 2. Want to switch to investment banking or fund management? I'm confused. You know what? I'll tell you this. This is a story of not only you, I think even people with 5-10 years of experience. I recently met, a few people while I was traveling. Very funny, like met one gentleman who was working in consulting. We had a conversation on how he was thinking he would want to move to investment banking. And the other person, she was some peripheral of investment banking. She was thinking of moving to consulting, right? It's like the other side is always going to look attractive. I'll tell you a simple way to think about this. Look at the basic nature of the job. Ask yourself, do I want a very people-oriented job, or do I want more analytical, number crunching type of jobs? Generally, if you have a, very people orientation type of thing, you'll do good if you have people skills in equity also, but I think investment banking might be a better fit. And if you have analytical skills, research, it doesn't have to be Excel, right? Or numbers. It just means ability to read businesses and understand where they are in their life cycle. You might be better off trying equity research. And see, at this age, you know what, you're not going to go wrong. Take whatever, work for a year or two. If it doesn't work, you can always switch. Experiment, you have time on your hand. Kavit, I attempted level 1 with the help of education loan. I'm not able to clear due to lack of preparation, working with Vodafone. Okay, I'm 23, move finance, equity market, learning about valuation. Can I shift job? What kind of skills? Do I need to attempt CFA? Can I earn through freelancing with proper value? Okay. Can I earn through freelancing? No. I think generally, imagine you go on Fiverr and create a profile that says that, hey, I will do financial modeling for you. I wouldn't trust you, right? I mean, see, finance is it's a industry that's based on trust. So generally, early in your career, freelancing, I don't think you can. I mean, you can set up your own consulting once you have acquired enough experience, but early in the stage, no. Do I need to reattempt CFA to get a job in this sector or some certification? I would always be inclined for CFA. I think, unfortunately, right now, there are 2 or 3 big certifications in finance. And I'm saying unfortunately because it shouldn't be the case, right? I mean, someone who knows the subject, doesn't have a certification, should get a job. But that does not happen. Nahi hota hai. So CFA, MBA Finance, FRM, these are CA. These are some of the options you have. I'm 23, trying to move. Okay, I'm skipping this now. Please do not alter the video format. In the last 2 videos, you selected some questions. Okay, all right, sir. SP. Investment in asset-light companies are gaining momentum, but can we consider natural resource themes like water management, solar energy? Okay. Sure, you can, Gautam. See, a lot of people are betting on, transition of power sector in India. I heard one fund manager saying that the whole transition from thermal energy to renewable energy is going to be as big as what internet did to the world. Okay, now this fund manager seems extremely bullish. I have not done a lot of large size bets on solar or water type of thing, because I haven't found a business that I really liked. But it needs to be evaluated rather than an industry decision. It needs to be evaluated on a case by case basis. So if you find some company and you feel that there's a good runway to grow, sure, why not? On the other side, I love these companies. uh, I feel, see, I'll tell you, the way to think is, no? I kind of love the whole services, aspect of a business more than manufacturing. Imagine I want to manufacture and sell like some sort of a heavy machinery or some industrial packaging material. It will take me 1.5 year of capex planning, execution, get my factory ready, get workers, do the whole setup, and then I start selling. If I want to scale up my business, I have to set up one more factory, right? So a lot of capital intensive businesses. Of course, that has its own advantage, creates barriers to entry and whatnot. But imagine if I am, in services business, let's say very simple. I'm sitting in India and I'm offering offshore services for Americans to file their income tax return. Okay, if there was a service like that, my runway is going to be very small. I can set up, acquire skill in 3 months and start the business. So I'm generally, if I, look at my portfolio, I generally like these type of companies more than, the traditional very heavy capex companies. But having said that, I've also invested in pharma and, some of the plastic manufacturing capexes. Okay, Vishesh, don't know, but you've been missing my question. Okay. You said read the curriculum, but may not be possible. Can you please, important chapters? See, there is no such thing as important chapters. You have to read the curriculum. It's not a necessity. I think in my opinion, can you pass without reading the curriculum? Maybe. But can you be a good analyst in today's market if you do not have good reading skills? I doubt. Okay, so we're reading curriculum more so that we're ready for the industry. Prefer a good boss over company, but the problem is we don't know how our boss will behave with us. How can that? That's a good question. See, no way to know. I think you join some company and you feel you're not happy with whatever is happening. You're not learning enough. So when I mean good boss, I don't mean like the one who gets you coffee in the morning. I don't mean, or the one who speaks to you nicely. No, that's not a good boss. I think a good boss is someone, any senior you're working with, right? Anyone you're working with, you're learning a lot from them every day, or you're learning a lot from them every now and then. So your learning curve is steep. That's the definition of having, good colleagues and, good supervisors. So if that's not happening, switch, find some other roles. Hi Utkarsh, Neil this side. I appear for level 1 in November. I'm applying in investment banking, equity research, cold emailing. What are the top 3 skills to learn before results? I mean, same. Number 1, just learn to present yourself well. Second, learn to articulate. Present means, I've seen like a lot of people would show up for interviews, wearing sneakers or, yeah, and some people are okay with, like, for example, I'm very cool with it, but I've seen a lot of people in our industry are not, right? So learn to present yourself, learn to articulate well when you speak, like nail down the behavioral part of the questions, right? Why do you want to do this job? Tell me about yourself, like, and try to make it a little funny, get, the interviewer a little engaged in the conversation. And then step number 3, your technical skills, which is your, financial modeling, report writing, Excel, and that kind of stuff. SP. I recently completed my level 1. Before that, I worked as equity dealer, left my job. Previous salary was 3 lakhs, upcoming interviews, reasonable to request a salary hike, 4 lakh, or should I consider 3 lakh as the base? I think, you should be able to get a little bit more now that you've passed level 1. I think 20-25% hike would not be very unreasonable. I took 3-4 months of break for the prep. Can you strong justification? Strong justification मतलब आप बोल रहे हो कि झूठ बोलने के लिए बताओ, है ना? But the fact is that you took the break because you wanted to prepare for the exam. So suck it up. Go and tell them that this is what I did. They're not going to like it. Like, I wouldn't have liked it had you told me that. But be honest and tell them that I wouldn't be doing it for level 2, and don't do it for level 2, by the way, right? Somehow figure out a way where you manage your work and studies together. Okay. I had passed CFA level 1. I wanted to get into equity research but couldn't find one, so I accepted credit risk. Learn financial modeling now, start applying because I'm sure I want to build my... Yeah, sure, start applying. Why not? I need to know the sector industry of listed Indian companies. Can you get data in Excel? Tried NSC, won't find that information. I think Screener has that. I don't know if you can download the data in bulk. Maybe other people who are listening to this session, if you can help Punit with some resources to download data on Indian markets. Screener has this thing where it allows you to classify companies across the sector. But if you can take a data dump, I don't know. Otherwise, there are softwares like Ace Equity, Capital Line, Capital. These are paid softwares, but they can do that job for you as well. CFA is organizing career day. Should you attend? Yes, you should. See, career days are basically where employers and potential, students interact with each other. So you learn about what's happening in the industry. So of course you should attend if you get an opportunity. How can I get one into consulting without an MBA? I think CFA, CA will help. Financial consulting is okay. Strategy consulting will be very tough with CA, CFA. But financial consulting, Accentures of the world, I think you should be able to get in. Did you lose your friends in your career day? Did you lose your friends in your career days? Oh, acha. Actually, yes. Actually, I did. And I think... I don't think I've been a very successful at having. So I have a lot of friends, but I don't think I share that close type of relationship with most of them. I think for me, the priority was career, and I think that there was that phase in life where I was very obsessed with career. I think some part of that was also because मेरा सीन ऐसा था ना कि काम नहीं किया तो शायद कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा लाइफ में, because there's some financial difficulties in the house and all those kind of things. So I was very, very obsessed when I was a student in the early days, and that would basically mean I would not go and participate in like parties or events, at least on the days when I was preparing for exams or doing some work. And it's okay. I think in some of the friends with time, I've realized I just don't connect with them that well anymore, because our thought process have evolved. We look at life differently. So I had to let go of some friends. Some friends I was not very comfortable with. Like kabhi-kabhi aisa hota hai, you don't like. You stay away from a few people for a few years, and you build your own thought processes on life in terms of different things, your own ethics, your own value system, and then you meet some friends and you figure out that you're not aligned in terms of how they approach things, and there's some things you don't like. So I've let go of a lot of friends like that as well. But yes, that has happened, Rana, for sure. Meet graduated in 2024. Deferred my level 2 attempt, which was in November. Now in search of a job, not able to find one. Look for my previous videos, Meet. I've discussed a lot of ideas on how to find internships. Why should someone not prefer a job in operations? Kyunki aap within a few years, your job will be taken over by computers. Plus, most of the time you're downloading data or checking for accuracy, or just mapping data here and there. So you're doing process-oriented job where there's not much to learn. I think the simple idea with whole career discovery is at least in the first, I think all your life, but you have to have a very high focus on learning, right? And it's a very simple curve I have. Time on x-axis and the knowledge that you gain on y-axis. What you want is a curve like this, the blue one, okay, where you're with less amount of time you're learning a lot. What you do not want is this type of a curve, where after a while your learning curves have flattened, you're not learning anymore. I think a lot of operations are type 2 curves here, right? There is initial learning of 3-6 months of learning process business, and then you're just repeating the work. And that's why I don't like job in operations, because I feel if I were to work in that role, मैं bore हो जाऊंगा. I will not learn enough. But if you feel you're learning enough, by all means go and do it. And plus, automation is always a risk. Megha, 35 years, worked 4 years in fixed income, 9 years CFA FRM. You're already a CFA FRM. Due to no growth, I switched working as a business analyst in IT. Pay is good, but I hate my work. I feel guilty because unlike others, I'm not working in core finance, financial modeling, trying learning, but did not find it interesting. Because of my age, I know I cannot transition to other core finance roles. What are my options according to you? So, Megha, 35 years, I think you're still young. So, I'm not learning because of my age, I think is just a mental barrier. I think I personally feel I'm 39 now. I personally feel my learning curves, has been quite well in the last 4-5 years. Right, I'm learning probably at the same speed at which I was learning in the past. So that's not a barrier; it's just a mental barrier. You have fantastic designations with you. Now the problem is you're in a BA role right now, and BA roles will play well. What you can explore is 2 types of opportunities, right? One, look for vertical growth. So vertical growth is, I don't know what your designation is now. I'm guessing 10 years of experience, you're maybe a AVP, right? So look for vertical growth, which means maybe a VP, maybe a director, associate director, whatever designation your investment bank has. Second, look for horizontal roles, but then look for, unique, rare opportunities. For example, if you have a little bit of tech background, which you seem to have, look for fintech product management roles, right? So apply to the likes of maybe Bajaj Finance, Pune wala FinCorp, Paytm. See if there are any opportunities there. Keep on applying for these vertical roles. Look for fintech startups coming in, and especially if I don't know which city you're in, but if you're Bangalore, Mumbai, look for fintech startup roles. Maybe वहाँ पे कुछ मिलेगा. Or look for a startup in asset management space where they might not pay you a lot upfront, but maybe if they can have some sort of a ESOP type of a structure for you, but you're involved right from the beginning. So थोड़ा सा experiment and random application you'll have to do for some time. It will be a patient process. It will take some time, but something will materialize. I've seen people transitioning their careers in 40s and late 40s as well, but these are very persistent people. They keep on exploring options in the market. So the fact that you've written a comment here basically means you are not happy with what's happening. You've also mentioned, so just experiment or keep on applying. Read, I think start with read local news in finance, use Google News Alert, see what's happening. If there are new startups coming in, something interesting is happening, apply. Twitter, like write messages to people on LinkedIn, and alternatively keep on applying to these traditional vertical growth opportunities. Hopefully something will materialize. Shruti, as you said, I'm looking for job internship, not getting any opportunity, works in accounts, left my job for CFA, end up deferring it. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to get into equity research. वही same skills क्या है? देखो, number one, everyone, right? All the finance people. I think the first skill before you know F of finance is your interpersonal skills. That's extremely important. I mean, see, at the end of the day, there is some human on the other side who's going to offer you a job, right? So you have to have high quality interpersonal skills. कैसे बोलना है, कैसे बात करना है, क्या बोलना है, क्या नहीं बोलना है, how to articulate your thoughts, everything you need to learn properly. Second, in terms of technical skills, if these are the roles you want, then just usual financial modeling, Python, good understanding of technical finance, equity research. That's it. Last two questions. FinFree, ये almost FinTree type का ही लगा मेरे को. FinFree, अच्छा. I cleared level 2 exam. I got admission in New York Institute for MBA. Should I go? मेरे को पता नहीं. I don't know what this institute is. Is it the Stern Business School or is it something else? Sorry for lack of my knowledge. But I think you're way early. Plus, I think this year FinFree is not maybe a good year to go to US. Wait for a year, see Trump uncle kya karta hai. Right, you'll get a little more clarity on what's the mood and what's the flavor in the market. I wouldn't have gone for an US MBA this year. Probably keep it on. Unless you're going to Wharton's and Stanford of the world, then it's a different story. Anish, hi sir, I'm currently CA Intern, May 25. Slowly losing interest in CA, switch attempt to level 1 because I'm in core finance, not just accounting and taxation. Do you think leave CA? No. Bad idea. I think Anish, बहुत ही interesting. There's a tweet by a fund manager called Siddharth Bhaiya, Equities fund manager, where he said something like, I in fact commented on his tweet, which I generally never do, but he said CAs are the best analysts in the country or something like that. Right? Now, I don't fully agree with it. I think that it's just a representativeness bias that the best analyst he met happened to be a CA, but I'm sure there are a lot of engineers, not necessary CAs are also phenomenal analysts. I myself know many of them. But CA in general will help on two fronts. Okay, now I'll tell you what is the benefit of CA. You're saying about audit and taxation, right? But the first thing that when I look at a CA candidate is I know that this guy knows how to work his ass off, right? Because हम क्या कर रहे हैं CA में, right? 14 घंटे, like I used to go to library at 6 in the morning, come back at 10 daily, all 7 days a week, 30 days a month, right? So we know that CAs are hardworking, so your work ethics part is solved, right? So I at least have the margin of safety when I'm recruiting. Second, CAs will be generally better in accounting compared to CFAs. And there are some research houses which has a lot of focus on old school equity research. So you're already at Intern, few more exams and you'd be a chartered accountant. Why not? I mean, why not just finish CA? So I'm not very pro of quitting CA and switching to CFA unless you feel that I'm not able to pass the CA exam because it requires me to memorize stuff. Because CA का exam क्या है ना? It's a British style exam where you have to memorize stuff and then you have to write down on that. It's not very conceptual, and some people struggle with it. I struggle with it. I honestly don't know how I managed to pass. I don't deserve to be a CA. I got lucky. But CFA, on the other hand, would be relatively easier if you're a more logical bent of mind, at least from an exam passing perspective. But you can consider doing both. Who's stopping you? Okay, I think today is the first session out of my 21 sessions where I've managed to finish all the YouTube comments. So which is nice, and now I'm back to the live chat. And I think I can stop screen sharing as well. All right. So I'm taking some questions on the chat box now. Feel free to keep on posting the questions. I will start with Monis Khan. Monis says, hi sir, I've completed level 2. I have 1 year gap where I completed L1 and L2. I'm working in investor relation. Is CFA good enough for asset management? नहीं, MBA की ज़रूरत नहीं है. In fact, you have a good profile if you're working in IR. I don't know if you're working in a company or with a consulting company that does IR services company, but either ways, it's a good profile. I don't think you have to have an MBA. Medium knowledge. Does financial now in the near future require Python? Quant skill के लिए मेरे पास books नहीं है यार. Medium, I don't know. I think I've learned a lot of quant intuitively by playing around with data and then reading books but I don't know. Most of my quant knowledge is primarily CFA books, FRM books. I think outside CFA and FRM I've read a few books. There is one by Damodar and Gujarati. Damodar Gujarati, I guess. He has two books. One is called Econometrics and one is called Econometrics by Example. Those ones I like. And there is one book, I forgot the name of the author. That was a time series book. He was a professor with Wharton Business School. Okay, if you research a little bit, you would understand what book. I forgot his name. That was a decent book. But internet, you don't need, you can do a little bit of internet and just play around. And I think the best way to learn quant is to have keep on experimenting with data, right? Just take a data dump online and use Excel, Python, and just play around. I think you'd learn much more better. All right. Is it worth studying in UK and spending 50 lakhs for MSc Finance? I'm not a big fan. Sorry, no offense, but जितने भी students मेरे UK, Ireland गए हैं, many of them have struggled to find jobs there unless you go to some like a premium school like London School of Economic type of school. So no, I am not a big fan of spending that kind of money for a postgrad there in the UK. All right, will X clash of clan? I'm 28-year-old doing MBA finance. I have no corporate job experience. What will you suggest me to do? कुछ जो भी कर लो भाई, अब job करना शुरू कर लो. Will start working. I think that's the first thing you do, and get whatever job you can get. So at least you get some work experience if you want to work. Any book recommendation for interpersonal upskilling? Aries. Nahi, I don't know. I think the best way to acquire interpersonal skills is to be around really, really smart people who have good interpersonal skills and observe. So if you can put yourself in the company of people, who you find very smart in whatever ways, that's one way to do it. If I have to suggest a book, I would suggest a book called Psychology of Influence by Cialdini. I hope I'm pronouncing his name well. Psychology of Influence. That's not an interpersonal skills book, but it teaches a lot of behavioral patterns that the humans have. And you can take some, hints from it and incorporate into that in your behavior. So that one particular book I really, really liked. Okay, last two questions. My throat is lying down. How do I get a wife in finance? Wow. Love your question. So this gentleman is saying, I don't know whether you work in finance or not, but love your question. How do you get wife in finance? आपके dating app profile पे mention कर दो कि finance only. Matrimonial, go to matrimonial website, see if they have a filter, industry-wise filter. Maybe that could be one. Or you yourself get a job in finance and hunt for, potential options on the floor. Interesting question. I never thought of it that way. How do I get a wife in finance? Maybe, what, let me think about it next week if I find some better ideas to help you. How do I get a wife in finance? Fantastic. Ashutosh, tell me about CFA job opportunities where demand has been increasing or not. I heard people are jobless even after clearing level 3. कुछ लोग हैं, देखो क्या होता है ना आशुतोष, I'll tell you, let's assume there are 100 people, 95 of them have got jobs, 5 लोग बेरोजगार हैं, for whatever reason, right? Now, these 5 will always be the noise makers. So these 5 would be the one you would hear about them on LinkedIn, Twitter. Now, number one, if you're a level 3 cleared and you're still unemployed, you yourself have demonstrated that you are an idiot in terms of your career planning, right? Because ideally the best time to get a job is after level 1. If not level 1, at least after level 2, and do not write level 3 till the time you don't get a job, right? Because you're just overqualified fresher in the market. Second, it's very logical to say that CFA will not get jobs, right? Just forget the course. Let's say that you have a finance skill set. आपको एक basic finance आता है, you have some degree, CFA, FRM, whatever, right? Now, look at the size of the industry that we're dealing with here. Okay, so the number of CFA candidates, CFA level 3 candidates, सब मिला के बहुत ही, if you go very conservative, you're not looking at more than 50,000, 1 lakh people. In India, I'm saying. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 1 लाख. I think number of CFA charter holders are 4-5,000, right? Let's assume level 3 is crazy. So let's assume you have total 1 lakh CFA pool in the market. Now compare that with MBA finance pool, right? Compare that with the number of employees, Credit Suisse, UBS, JP Morgan, Barclays, all these captive units have in India. एक ऑफिस में 5-10 हज़ार लोग बिठाते हैं. Now, do you not think that someone who's done CFA or FRM will definitely understand, derivatives better than someone who's just done a 2-year generic MBA finance course, right? So there are two things happening. One, the size of the industry is growing. So BFSI industry, you'll expect to grow at least, 11 to 15% per annum. Second, there's a lot of market share capture that's happening. Right? So traditionally a job which would have been offered to a CA, अभी CFA ले रहा है. Traditionally a job which would have been offered to, let's say an MBA finance, CFA ले रहा है. So I don't see any reason why CFA candidate would be unemployed unless there is some issue with, see, I'm not trying to blame anyone here. Okay? Maybe genuine भी हो सकता है. But in my experience, I think finding a job is not that difficult. Keep your expectations moderate. Don't expect that there would be a red carpet by firms once you pass safe. कोई degree आपको life में अमीर नहीं बनाएगा. It's simple, right? So degree is just to get into some field and then acquire skills. It's just an entry barrier that you want to crack. So maybe these candidates have interpersonal issues, like interpersonal skills नहीं है. Maybe they're not applying enough. There could be thousands of different factors. I don't think in today's market we have a situation where CFA would be Raymond has a weird question on the chat box. I don't think that ये बहुत ही weird आदमी है ये जो भी है. I don't think getting a job is very tough today. नहीं कुछ तो यार एक simple मैं बताता हूँ ना. Go and there's a company called Nuvama in India. Okay, they're into private wealth business. Go and read their last con call. क्या बोल रहे हैं पता है? Those guys are saying that the number of private wealth professionals in the country are growing at a slower rate than the number of people who have that kind of money, right? The potential clients or target clients. So on one side, companies are saying that, hey, we are not finding enough manpower. On the second side, some of these level 3 candidates or level 3 pass candidates are unemployed. Clearly, there is something that's wrong. ये CA में भी होता है. I remember the year in which I became chartered accountant, November 08 attempt. I think the All India rank 1 or All India rank 2 ऐसे कोई तो भी था, मेरे को याद नहीं है, but some rank holder chartered accountant got a job and he was fired within a month of getting a job because because this guy had done dummy articleship. Okay, he like fake articleship. So he passed the exam, he was good academically, usko kuch kaam nahi aata tha. So those are the worst type of people to work with, where you have too many degrees and too little practical skills. Anyways, I'll answer the last question. Kishan, hi, how are you doing? Can you stop spamming the box? I'm answering your query. What to do till Feb in the FRM part 1, told by support to finish first floor till Feb. What to do? I'm clueless. Kishan, why don't you just call up the candidate success team or share your number with them and ask for my number. I'll give you some ideas on what you can do. A success team should be able to help you. Just call up the FinTree success team. They'll help you with it. I live in Nagpur. I have to work in core finance, Mumbai or Bangalore. Mumbai, then maybe second, if you're a little more ambitious, Singapore, a little more ambitious, London, a little more ambitious, Wall Street, New York. That's your sequence. I'm sure ये रेवमन chat GPT से question ढूंढ के निकाल रहा है. Anyways, all right. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session today because I did some very interesting questions. Whatever I could not answer, if you could post them on the comments and I'll try and answer them in the next session. Thank you very much. Keep on learning and keep on learning. Thank you. Bye-bye.